I'm not using and maybe forgot about. It safely identifies recurring charges and cancels the ones you don't want for you, all from the app without having to call customer service. It's also handy for setting budgets to develop better spending habits, monitoring spending by category, and notifying you when you've exceeded your limits. Rocket Money has helped save its customers up to $740 a year when using all the features, and over $500 million in canceled subscriptions.
I need this! I could defeat Pilates with the power of Rocket Money!
Well, then join the 5 million members today by going to rocketmoney.com/MNJTV or by clicking the link in the description below where you can get started for free. And you can also unlock more features with premium.
rocketmoney.com/MNJTV. Got it! Time for my finances to blast off! In like a good way, to be clear. Ta-ta!
This next mistake is one that Pokemon causes by being honestly a deceptive game. It is a cute, generally kid-friendly franchise with cute or cool creatures to collect, but then the formula for attack damage looks like this. Then the stat page of a summary is a bunch of numbers, and while you were probably old enough to understand bigger number equals better, there's a lot going on here that isn't immediately clear. Because of that, I never really looked at my Pokemon stats growing up, and if you did the same, it likely led to this mistake: ignoring physical versus special. In case you don't know today, physical moves are those involving physical strikes, usually with the Pokemon's body, and special moves tend to be ranged, energy-related attacks. Today, each move is classified individually, but before Gen 4, it depended on the type of move. This matters because some Pokemon like Machamp have high physical attack and poor special attack, and others like Alakazam are the opposite. Some Pokemon like Kingler were doomed to always be terrible before Gen 4, since it had sky-high physical attack, but all water moves were special. In short, if you don't understand the difference between physical and special, you're likely handicapping your Pokemon with moves that you think are gonna be good, but actually stink. I didn't know about if attacks were physical, special, had extra effects. If the move name sounded cooler, my mons would learn it. Little me was shocked my Hyper Beam Gardevoir and Emerald didn't help a lot. To be fair, Hyper Beam isn't as bad on Gardevoir anymore because it's a special move now. Hyper Beam being physical because it was a normal type is one of the more famous examples of the type-based physical special split not really making much sense. Another famous one is like Fire Punch being special. It's literally a punch. Not understanding attack and special attack when I was a kid, just going off type effectiveness and base power. The main memory I have of this is having my Machoke use Fire Blast on a Metagross and wondering why it only did about 1/8 of its health. Yeah, Machoke has a base special attack stat of only 50. Also, how did it get to do anything against Psychic-type Metagross at all? Another not immediately obvious Pokemon mechanic is Stab, which is short for Same-type Attack Bonus. Any attack your Pokemon uses that matches the user's type gets a 50% boost in power. It's there so you actually have a reason to use a Fire-type Pokemon instead of just teaching Flamethrower to anything else that can learn it. Stab moves are very important, but generally, a Pokemon only needs one, maybe two, for one of its types. So your electric type could have reliable Thunderbolt and then maybe also stronger but risky Thunder if you really need a KO in that moment. Or your fighting type could have Mach Punch for priority, then Close Combat when you really need to unload damage. Then the other slots should go to stab moves for the Pokemon's secondary type, or support moves like stat boosting or status inflicting. But inexperienced players may not understand this, thus leading to the mistake of having too many stab moves. As a teenager, I revisited my old white version. I was appalled at my younger self when I saw a Samurott in my party with 4 water-type damaging moves in its moveset. My Blastoise in Fire Red had Water Pulse, Surf, Hydro Pump, and Hydro Cannon, cause hey, all water so it's stronger, right? My Sceptile in my old Emerald save literally just had Solar Beam, Leaf Blade, Giga Drain, and Bullet Seed. Oops, all stab moves. Modern Pokemon games often have routes that are generally straight lines or simply wide open fields. Older ones had literal mazes. Dungeons like Granite Cave or Mount Coronet can be true labyrinths in Pokemon, and it's even tougher if it's something dark that needs flash. I had guidebooks as a kid, so I could always make my way out if I got a bit lost, but a lot of people didn't have that resource and got stuck. permanently. When I was a kid, I wasn't able to beat Pokemon Diamond because I was stuck in Mount Coronet, not being able to find the damn entrance to the cave in the snow area. And then to bring it back to Tyler's comment, which had a bunch of mistakes in one, Leaf Green was my first Pokemon game, and in one of my later runs, after having already had to restart because I got lost in Silphco. Look, man, I know you were 7, but there was an elevator. But it's not just getting lost. This mistake covers all methods of just getting stuck. Getting stuck in Slateport City because I didn't know you could go under the cycling road. Same! On my first playthrough in Ruby, I was in Slateport for ages because I couldn't get past the Team Magma blockade. Then after my mom suggested talking to everyone in town, that magically made Team Magma disappear from the museum entrance and thus made it so I could move on. And then of course I got stuck again because I didn't realize you could go under the cycling road. So you could get stuck due to being lost in a cave or weird progression mechanics, or another more amusing reason. Gardenia's gym, oh my god! When the guide at the gym said to look in the trees for hidden trainers, I thought he meant in Eterna Forest. I spent 3 months thinking that the game was unbeatable or that I missed something, but then I heard someone at school talk about how he just beat Gardenia's gym and I thought he was lying. So I asked him and he said they were in the gym. So hooray, I beat the game with Luxray, Infernape, and Staraptor. I'm glad it worked out, but that is very funny. Prior to the Gen 7 introduction of Ride Pokemon, to progress through Pokemon games, you had to teach your Pokemon HM moves. HM being short for Hidden Machine. That was how they prevented progression until defeating certain gym leaders. Now, some of these HM moves are pretty solid. Strength is not the best normal attack, but it's acceptable. Surf is one of the best water moves in the game, and Fly thankfully is solidly powerful, while being a move you definitely want in your party at all times. But most HM moves stink! Waterfall and Dive are strictly worse than Surf before Gen 4, but can maybe be justified after that if your water type is a physical attacker. Rock Climb is under 100 power, yet has the poor accuracy of a much stronger move. Cut is only 50 power, and weirdly not even perfectly accurate. Rock Smash is only 40 power, but in Gens 2 and 3, it was only 20. And then worst of all, Defog and Flash. Defog lowers the enemy's evasion, which is mostly useless, and it also clears hazards on both sides of the field, which has some applications in competitive play, but not in a playthrough. But then Flash is truly awful. It lowers the enemy's accuracy by 1 stage, the same thing as Sand Attack. But unlike Sand Attack, in Gens 1, 2, and 3, Flash's accuracy was only 70%! Are you kidding me? It's a flash of light! How do you miss? These moves are horrible, but unfortunately important for game progression in the earlier games, leading to the common mistake of teaching your main party members bad HM moves. Now, why am I naming HM moves specifically and not just teaching your Pokemon bad moves in general? Well, it's because you can't get rid of the frickin' HM moves. To prevent soft locking, HM moves can only be deleted by the move deleter, not overwritten when learning a new move upon leveling up. That means if you teach your Ivysaur Flash right when you get the HM, you can't delete it until you get access to the move deleter. And in Gen 1, there's no move deleter at all, meaning you have permanently ruined your starter's moveset. This is extra frustrating for Flash because starting in Gen 4, it was a deletable TM, but in Gens 1 through 3, it's a not deletable HM. This is insane! It is a wholly optional move! I forgot HMs couldn't be removed easily, and I taught Flash to all my Pokemon in Leaf Green. I taught my Sceptile Cut, Flash, and Rock Smash, also had Leaf Blade, while it was a Trico/Grovyle in my very first game, which was Emerald. And then when I tried to teach it another level up move, I couldn't get it to forget those 3 HM moves and was frustrated. I didn't know about the move deleter at the time. So that Sceptile had 3 HM moves plus Leaf Blade, even in the Pokemon League battles as well. Yikes! I am eternally grateful that HM moves are gone. They were one of the most annoying pieces of Pokemon. Get me a Ride Pokemon or even a stupid bike any day of the week. The Master Ball is the most useful Pokeball, and because of that, you can only get 1 in most games. Okay, I guess you can get one if like you win the lottery thing, but like that's just so unlikely. 99.999% of people they're just gonna get one. Therefore, a Master Ball should only ever be used on a shiny or on a fleeing, roaming legendary. But clearly, many of you did not follow that advice and thus made the mistake of bad Master Ball usage. Using a Master Ball on a Ditto because I thought it was a legendary. I used a Master Ball on a Rhydon right before Mewtwo in Let's Go. I saw in the anime Farfetch'd was rare, so I used my Master Ball on it. When I was a kid, maybe 5 or 6, I was playing Pokemon Silver and used my Master Ball on a Delibird because I was sick of it fleeing on me. My parents, who were helping me catch Entei, Suicune, and Raikou, were so mad. When I got the Master Ball, I read that it captures anything without fail. I tested it out on a Snover. I was a little upset when I released the Snover and didn't get the ball back. There are countless stories like these, but this next one I think is my personal favorite. Throwing a Master Ball at Lorelei's Slowbro in yellow, because it can catch any Pokemon without fail. This person took the word any so literally, they tried to use it on a trainer's Pokemon. It's even more painful since using a ball on a trainer's Pokemon makes you lose the ball. So then doing that, but there were more. Accidentally released my starter Blaziken while trying to swap it for a Macargo I'd just gotten and wanted to level up. My first time playing, I didn't understand how the PC/box worked and couldn't figure out how to get my starter back into my party. I thought release might be the way to get my Totodile back, my reasoning being that it would release the Pokemon from the box and back to me. Okay, at least this one had some reasoning behind it, but how did the Totodile get into the box in the first place? Then some others of you released legendaries. I thought I was leaving the box and instead I released my Thundurus from Pokemon White. I have been distraught since. I released my BDSP gift, Mew. And then of course, so many of you released shiny Pokemon. I released a shiny Sandshrew thinking it was less cool than my regular Sandshrew. I had 2 Poochyena, one with gray fur and one with yellow fur. I released the one with yellow fur because it was significantly weaker and only knew Ice Fang. I will always regret this. When I was 10, I had a Lotad with Pokerus. I released it because I thought it was going to break my game. It was also a shiny. Yikes, bit of a double whammy there. If it's real. Both a shiny with Pokerus, really? Really? Now, as I mentioned, as a kid, I never released any Pokemon, much less an important starter or legendary, so I have an important question for all of you out there who did make this mistake. Why didn't you just turn off the game? So many of the mistakes in this video are ones that are not immediately obvious or are ones you cannot fix, such as wasting time leveling up a trait evolution or losing progress because you didn't save. And for some of these, like, I kinda get it. It's like, if you don't understand the value of a shiny, you're more willing to release it. But like, you also could have just left it in the box. But not only is releasing a legendary or a starter like an obvious bad thing, it gives you immediate feedback. You've done it. It's like, oh, bye-bye, it's gone. And you just save after? You don't just turn off the game, forget the progress up to that point. Get your starter back. Not immediately resetting your game to get rid of that mistake is insane to me. But I guess kids are insane. This is the second to last mistake on this list, and it is so painful, I'm genuinely grateful that I've never done it. Shiny Pokemon are awesome. They're rare and special, different colored Pokemon, and in the older games, they are exceedingly difficult to find. Therefore, it really sucks when you find one and then don't catch it. Could be because it KOs itself, you get a badly timed crit, you're low on Pokeballs, etc. Those are painful, but most of the time they're bad luck or miscalculations. The far worse mistake is intentionally failing a shiny, because if you do it on purpose, then learn later what you did, not only do you not have the shiny, but then you have to live with yourself. When I was younger, I ran from my first ever full odds shiny because I thought it was a virus on my 3DS. Why is this Shinx yellow? I want the original blue one. Kills it without hesitation. I once thought as a kid that the blue Boldors in Chargestone Cave looked blue because of the blue crystals that you can find there. So I definitely ran away from more than one shiny Boldor at some point in my childhood. That yellow Pidgey's a glitch. Restart your game. From my cousin. He is disowned in my eyes. Well, at least the last person has someone to blame other than themselves. Before I get to the most painful mistake in Pokemon, I wanted to read some other comments that you all left. They don't really fit into any other mistakes in this video because I don't think anyone else but the writers of these comments made these mistakes, which is why I want to mention them. They're so entertaining. My friend was told the Everstone prevented stat drops, so he had it on his starter